Hello there. Welcome to video 130 from Sumit Academy. May I wish all my viewers a very happy new year and hope that this new year will wipe away all our tears and worries and give us a peaceful, healthy life. I do hope that you have subscribed to my channel. Do subscribe now so that you do not miss out on my previous or future videos. And do remember to like and share this video too. And if you want to drop in a line, I shall always be available at sumitacademy20@gmail.com. To make your task a little easier, here is a complete list of all the 130 videos on my YouTube channel. The list is divided into the playlists under which they are available. Do have a look. In this video, we shall take a quick look at the intricacies of essay writing, a very important paper which surprisingly few candidates prepare well for. This being the first paper of the means, if you do not do well here, you may well be in a negative mood for the rest of the papers. But before we do so, let us have a look at the UPSC Civil Services essay papers for the last few years. First of all, if you are not appearing immediately for your mains, I suggest that you first have a look at my 12 detailed videos on essay writing and then come back to this video. But if your exam is fast approaching in a few days, then this video is certainly for you. Do remember that an essay is a literary composition, well organized, governed by a broad controlling idea on a subject. It is not a poem and needs to be written in the selected language only. You just cannot give quotes or small couplets in Hindi and hope to get away with it. Read the topics given in each section and think of them for at least 5 to 10 minutes. It is important to carefully select the two topics you will be writing on, as you cannot and do not have the time to change topics midway. And remember, if the paper demands that you write an essay of about 1000 to 1200 words, you will only lose marks if you do not write even 800 words. Now, the safest is to write an essay of about 1100 words. Control is the name of the game. You write to a strict structure and do not deviate. So read the title of the selected topic again and again so that you are sure of what to include in your arguments. Creativity lies not in flights of imagination, but in interpreting the essence of the topic in your own way. You may express your opinions, but only in the context of the topic. The first stage is analyzing the title. A common criticism of examination essays is that the candidate did not answer the question. No matter how many times you are warned, someone always falls in the trap of not answering the question that they had been set. You have to understand fully what the question is asking for. To work that out, you look at both the aspects. The keywords, that is, words that explain the topic. For example, demonetization or labor problem. And the function words that tell you how you have to handle the subject matter. For example, compare, analyze, or discuss. Group your ideas together in your mind in a logical structure. In the last sheet of your answer book, in the space reserved for rough work, make out a point-wise skeleton plan of your essay. Think of the plan as your skeleton, which holds your body together and gives it shape. You need your skeleton to stand upright, and you need your plan to make your essay logical and comprehensive. Finally, when you think that you have got all the points clear in your mind in a logical sequence, have a relook at the title of the essay to see that you have not deviated away from the core issue. Look at the broad thrust of your argument and ask yourself whether your line of reasoning is logical, relevant, and complete in terms of the topic. Spend 10 minutes on each essay. The second one has to be done after you finish writing your first essay. Another important point to remember before you pen down your essay is to keep an eye on your handwriting. Write neatly and legibly. Otherwise, all your wonderful ideas will come to nothing, as the examiner will have to keep guessing what you have penned down in your scribble, and you may lose valuable marks. I'm sure that you have prepared well for your essay paper, but over the last 2 or 3 days before the exam, do try and go over the previous 5 years' essay papers. You may find that certain topics, like on women or on Gandhian thought, keep reappearing. You may make a list of topics which may come and spend a few hours thinking of points on these topics. Another resource is the internet. Here are a few really good websites to help your thought process. Google Scholar, available at this URL, provides peer-reviewed journal articles and extracts from books without any of the usual commercial links. The next site is Internet Public Library, available at www.ipl.org. This is an enormous virtual public library, claiming to have more than 5 lakh essays across thousands of topics. And of course, the British Library at bl.uk provides you 10,000 pages of information. Try and avoid depending on Wikipedia. It is not an appropriate source for academic work. Another important thing to remember is to keep a track of quotes you use. Do not forget to put quotation marks around all the phrases and sentences that you take word for word. Do not use quotations unless you are absolutely sure that you know the exact quote. It is often better to paraphrase the quote in your own words. The examiner will still be impressed at the skill with which you have woven the quote in your own words. Have confidence in your own interpretation. What your examiner wants to see is evidence that you have read the original, thought about it, attempted to express the content in your own way, and used it to attempt the essay. Your examiner is looking for evidence of knowledge, not evidence of parroting. Let us now learn how to write the perfect paragraph. Paragraphs are the building blocks of your essay. They are a collection of sentences dealing with the same idea. Each paragraph is made up of a group of sentences that together form a kind of conceptual and practical unit. Well-written paragraphs are a way of dividing your essay into topics or key points, where they allow you to build your argument step by step. Each paragraph should be clear, thorough, and balanced with enough information to support your points. Paragraphs should also be logical and sequential in content. You should not jump around with your ideas, but should build from one to the other. You connect to the preceding paragraphs, following up the points that you have made and paving the way for new ideas that follow. In other words, there should be some connecting thread between the paragraphs. So, how long should your paragraphs be? From the examination point of view, your paragraphs should be substantial but not too lengthy. A rough rule is to aim for a minimum of 3 sentences and a maximum of about 7 to 8 sentences in a paragraph. The number depends on what you are writing and the length of your sentences. Try to ensure that each page has no fewer than 2 paragraphs and no more than 5 paragraphs. Too many paragraphs betray a lack of attention to the topic, whereas too few paragraphs show that you have not given much thought about the structure of your ideas. A page that is all in one paragraph can be daunting for the examiner, and you can easily get lost in your ideas. You need to find the natural break in the ideas and make them into manageable paragraphs. Now let us learn how to structure our paragraphs. The first step is thinking about the exact question that you are addressing in the paragraph and considering the best approach to answering it well. Decide the key part of the question and which facts and thoughts provide the answer. The second step is noting down the key question for the paragraph and the answers to the question in step 1. Think about your own views on the pieces of information you have gathered. Look over the facts and information again and see what is going to help you make your case. Reorder the information, facts, and ideas so that they make the most sense. Leave out what you don't need yet. Other information is for a different paragraph, so you can use it later. You don't try to cram it in where it is not required. You have to turn the question you started with into a statement or the opening sentence of the paragraph, which is usually called the topic sentence of each paragraph. You then move on to the details that support and develop your topic sentence, giving details, facts, and examples. You conclude each paragraph with a concluding sentence. Do not assume that your examiner is going to guess the point you want to make in your paragraph. So therefore, you need to articulate the key idea or notion of each paragraph in one clear sentence. This is known as the topic or main sentence of the paragraph. The topic sentence should be simple, clear, and meaningful. The topic sentences summarize the main idea of your paragraph. Keep to one idea per paragraph, and for further ideas, you need new paragraphs. Also, ensure that your topic sentence is relevant to the essay and is not off the point. Do not use paragraph headings and do not underline any sentence or word. Let your language highlight the importance of a sentence. While your topic sentence sets the scene, your supporting sentences develop the ideas and provide detail. The supporting sentences may involve more discussion and develop your ideas in a range of different ways, such as by discussing the words in the topic sentence in detail, while giving definitions, by drawing comparisons or explaining cause and effect. In your topic sentence and the supporting sentences, you should discuss the same issue, first introducing it and then analyzing it. Do not confuse the examiner by introducing new ideas in the same paragraph. Each paragraph should deal with only one point or idea, and every paragraph should have a different but related idea. You should also ensure that one point does not overflow into another para. Keep to one point per paragraph. We now move on to learn how to pen the perfect sentence. Each paragraph should comprise of 3 to 8 sentences of various lengths. Let us consider how long you can make your sentences. Conveying a complex idea in short sentences is generally difficult, but having short sentences in your essay is useful for balance and readability. Different types of sentences, such as those that ask questions, like interrogative, including rhetorical, have no place in your essay. You need to use declarative sentences because these state arguments and facts. Do not overuse short sentences. A series of short sentences produces an effect like a machine gun firing and can be unpleasant to read. Too many short sentences leads to repetition of the keywords because you have to keep on introducing concepts again and again. On the other hand, you can easily lose the meaning when sentences are too long and complicated. It is best to keep things straightforward. Shorten the longer sentences to make the meaning clear. You should avoid the use of too many simple conjunctions like such, as, and, so, but, and because. If short sentences can sound choppy and long sentences muddled, a paragraph containing sentences of different lengths is usually more interesting for the examiner as it shows the control you have over your language. If you have a short and pithy sentence as the topic sentence, followed by a series of longer sentences, your essay will make a good impact. A paragraph with sentences of different lengths is more interesting to read than a list of bullet point ideas, where you use lots of short sentences, and it is easier to understand than long wordy phrases that seem endless. If your examiner has to reread sections or refer back to the earlier passages to get the meaning clear, not only does your work lack coherence, but you will lose a lot of marks in the bargain. Your essay should have simple, clear, and declarative sentences. A sentence of more than 40 words can be cumbersome and difficult to understand. You need to be sensible and aim for clarity. One way to shorten unwieldy sentences is to break them into shorter ones. Look for a comma and see whether a full stop will be more effective. You should stick to only one main idea in each sentence, and this helps in clarity. You must use the best words you know for your essay. Use a variety of words or synonyms rather than repeating the same words in sentences. Also check that you have kept your language simple. Many candidates use complex words because they are trying to impress the examiner. The problem with this tactic is that candidates often use the words inaccurately, hence shifting the meaning of a sentence. Be careful with your attitude. While composing the essay, you need to take care to get your ideas across appropriately. You are aiming for reason, logic, argument, and coherence, and not personal experience. You want to show that you have read and understood a range of authors and views, that you have synthesized what they have said, adding your own opinion. In general, essays are formal in nature and so are impersonal, but they should also be straightforward and interesting. Formal does not mean writing in a stilted technical fashion, but it does mean taking care with the language you choose to use. Using the personal pronoun I in your essay depends on the nature of your essay. If you are writing a narrative on your own educational biography, you can't possibly complete the essay without using the pronoun I. The style of writing should be appropriate to what you are writing, and hence, essay writing is generally formal, and the personal pronoun I is generally discouraged. Unless you have been asked to use the pronoun I in your essay, avoid using it. Your style should be formal and in third person. Avoid overstatements. Your essay is a considered, well researched, careful discussion, and the language you use should reflect this approach. If you really must emphasize something, use a different word, but avoid exaggeration by minimizing superlatives and words like massively, amazing, awesome, crazy, gigantic, great, super, terrific, wonderful, and unbelievably. Avoid these words. Remember to keep your essay neutral. Try not to sound angry or overexcited, and don't get dewy eyed or sentimental. Avoid apologizing for your work and stay grounded, dodging passages where you go off on flights of fancy. Confidence should make your argument strong without resorting to flowery, overblown language. Avoid cliches. Cliches are phrases that are overused. They tend to be meaningless and pointless, and they are informal in tone, so they are all the more inappropriate in your essay. Identifying cliches is not always easy because the phrases were once clever, witty, and interesting, but have been incorporated in everyday speech and writing. Some of the cliches to avoid are at the end of the day, I must say, I have to say, sticks out like a sore thumb, the winds of change, the sands of time, the writing is on the wall, and the calm before the storm. These are not really slang, but they are overused and should be avoided in our essay. Your facts, figures, ideas, and argument should be persuasive without having to force a particular emphasis into your sentences. You should not use bold lettering, italics, different word sizes, exclamation marks, or capital letters for emphasis. Your essay should be objective in nature. In an essay, you aim to present evidence and evaluate it as clearly as possible. You are not asked to write about personal beliefs or prejudices. In our everyday language, we tend to show how we feel about certain things, ideas, and people. This is acceptable in informal speech. However, in a formal essay, this is not acceptable. Even when you are asked for your views and opinions, these should be linked to the evidence you are evaluating and not to some unquestioned belief. Many candidates fall into the trap of assuming that essay writing in a formal style is dry and complicated. They fill their essays with convoluted phrases, extended sentences, and meaningless words in a vain effort to show off their vocabulary. Instead of achieving the desired effect of impressing the examiner, they end up with a complicated, confusing, and ambiguous essay. For your examiner to appreciate your essay, your writing needs to be clear, simple, and to the point. Also, learn to avoid double negatives. Like, for example, instead of saying the idea is not ineffective, you should write that the idea is effective. Instead of penning down a sentence like research is never a useless activity, you can write that research is a useful activity. Let us now see as to what your introduction needs to do. Your introduction is the first part of your conceptual framework, and this helps put your essay into context. You need to work upon your introduction because it sets the tone of your essay. Here is a tip to start you off with. You must write the title of your essay in full at the top before the essay. Not only does it remind the examiner about the essay topic of your choice, but it also helps you to keep in mind what you should be writing, ensuring that your essay stays relevant to the topic. Your introduction is like an opening shot of a film or an overview map at the start of a journey. It provides a sense of what is to come and puts your essay in context. It needs to establish the main ideas of your essay. If you make the introduction clear, direct, and lucid, your examiner feels that the essay is likely to address relevant issues. So, what do we include in our introduction? Without repeating the essay title in your essay, you can interpret it showing what it is about. You may even summarize how you plan to handle the topic, saying what you will cover to satisfy the criteria. Depending on the topic and your essay, you can reveal or hint at the conclusion in your introductory paragraph. You're probably wondering how long your introduction should be. Well, it should be about 10% of the total word count. In our case, about 110 words. Your essay should open with a thesis statement. A thesis statement is the sentence where you state your view on the topic. It is your viewpoint or argument. If you cannot summarize your ideas into a couple of sentences for a thesis statement, rethink what you're planning to cover because it may be too vast. Opening an essay with a list of definitions of key terms and words is very tempting. Doing so seems logical because you are laying the ground for your discussion. Unless the title specifically asks you to provide definitions, it is best to avoid them. What you understand by the topic should be clear in your essay, and you may cover it through your interpretation of the topic. However, instances exist where you need to define key terms and words in the introduction, such as when you find conflicting ways of describing a concept in your essay. In these cases, you briefly state which understanding you're using and its source. Let us now move on to the crux of the essay body. As with our introduction, we do not use any headings anywhere in our essay. We do not begin our introduction by writing the underlined word, introduction, nor do we write the words main body or conclusion. In the main body of your essay, which should be about 80% of your word count, you need to come to grips with your argument and structure what you're going to say. It is all about having an opinion, a position, taking a stance, and arguing your case. But expressing what you think is difficult if you're not sure of your own opinion in the first place. Consider your viewpoint seriously, and writing the main body of your essay becomes far easier. When looking at an essay title, consider these points. First, how much does the topic interest you? Is it an area that you are familiar with? Or does it link in any way to your life? If you have practical examples, you should make a note of them now. Second, do you want to look at this topic from a particular perspective? Does it make a difference to your view that you are a woman or a man, a parent or a person of a particular race, or from a different culture to the mainstream? Identifying something that you can bring to the main question may help you to develop your ideas better and give direction to your essay. Third, how can you be objective? You don't want to turn your essay into a personal opinion piece or a rant. So you need to step back from your views and think about the aspects of the topic that really catch your attention and those that don't. Can you be completely dispassionate or impersonal about the view and the stand that you take? If you can't, consider how you're going to be as objective as you need to be in your essay writing. You may want to present the two sides to an argument in a balanced manner. This is a good approach to start with. If you choose to adopt a very even approach, you still need to reach a conclusion eventually. So bear in mind that you're looking for the weight of evidence to decide one way or the other. Your ideas may change as you go along, but as soon as you have got enough evidence, you should make up your mind about what you think and get on with the essay. Don't forget to mention any disagreements and counter agreements. You do need to mention them, demonstrating their inherent weaknesses and showing how your ideas and logical argument are considerably stronger. Don't be afraid of being critical. Some candidates struggle with critical analysis because they wrongly define criticism in the same way that you may think about being negative, rude, or unpleasant. You don't have to be an argumentative sort of person to present a clear argument. You do need to be reasoned and thoughtful. Argument means looking at the pros and cons of an idea and weighing up evidence. What you are trying to do is present a persuasive and strong case that supports a particular viewpoint. You need to consider viewpoints other than your own, present them fairly, and analyze them critically. We now come to the final part of your essay, the conclusion. We will attempt to find out the exact function of the conclusion, knowing what to include and exclude, and making clear and convincing points to conclude your essay. The end of your essay is a stage where you need to round off your writing with a strong and clear meaning. You conclude by explaining what the original question was, how you explored it, and what you discovered. Besides giving a sense of rounding off your essay, conclusions have various other functions, like summarizing your main points. You need to provide an overview of the ideas in the main body of your essay. Realizing your argument, your conclusion should provide the last stage of your argument. It is the realization or deductions where you show that what you are stating is based on the logical development of what you have already written. If your essay title asks you to express your views about a topic, you should include this in your conclusion. If, for example, you are asked to evaluate or assess the worth of an idea or action, you need to ensure that you present your response in the conclusion. No matter what the nature of your essay, you must incorporate two main aspects, that is, summarizing the ideas in the essay and making an evaluation, judgment, or final comment on what you have presented. Your conclusion should always be more than a mere summary of the essay. The evaluation or critical comment is always required, and the summary is generally part of this process. Make sure that you actually do reach some kind of conclusion. If you think that you cannot resolve the issues raised, you need to state what your reservations are. You should make suggestions to solve the problem rather than merely stating that you cannot reach a conclusion at all. So, what do you include in your conclusion and what do you exclude? A common misconception among candidates is to think that examiners are impressed to see the evidence of all the reading and research they have done around the essay topic. In fact, candidates presenting their work that doesn't link to the topic is quite irritating. Your conclusion should be precise and directly linked to your essay title. Never introduce a new idea in your conclusion. If the idea is an interesting one and is a vital aspect of your essay, you should feature it early on and investigate it properly. Sometimes candidates save up a great idea for the end as a kind of dramatic effect. You end up appending a great idea as an afterthought, which does not have the desired effect. The other common reason for introducing something new in the conclusion is to do with poor time management and last minute desperation. Sometimes candidates are just about finished their essay when they discover that they have omitted an important point, or they suddenly come across a great idea in their reading. Now, this reads as rushed and betrays a lack of forethought and attention to detail. You need to check your conclusion carefully to ensure that it is well written, accurate, relevant, and concise. In order to present a great conclusion, plan an outline of what you may need to include. This helps you avoid drifting off from the topic and ensuring that you write a pithy and concise finish to the essay. Your conclusion should have a distinct and clear tone, but it should not be markedly different from the rest of your essay. You need to present an assured, convincing quality of writing that strikes the right balance between too reticent and overconfident. While you can point out some of the limitations in your essay, do not be apologetic. What you are trying to accomplish is a sense of ending and finality. Return to the topic, reinforcing its value. Mention the context of the work and show how your journey through the argument has clarified the discussion, showing where you have contributed your own ideas or examples and how you have refined your existing thoughts. Like the introduction, your conclusion forms about 10% of your essay. Now, this is just a guide, so do not stick to it rigidly if your essay meets the requirements better with a slightly longer or shorter conclusion. If your conclusion is very short, you could not have included all the elements of your essay. If your conclusion is too long, you need to cut out anything extraneous or unnecessary. Keep your opinion brief and unobtrusive. Do not let your conclusions contradict all the evidence you have gathered and presented. In the process of your writing, you should think ahead of your conclusion. Try to avoid raising rhetorical questions in your conclusion because they weaken your essay and makes you sound ambiguous. You need to get off the fence and project your opinion. At the end, remember that you only have 90 minutes for each essay. The examiner has a pile of similar essays to mark. Make sure your essay stands out from the rest by checking for obvious mistakes and a good, legible handwriting. You should plan to have 5 to 10 minutes at the end to check your spellings, facts, and punctuations. In your haste to write your essay, you tend to miss out words. So look out for omissions as you are reading through. The final thing is crossing out. Check that you have clearly crossed out alterations and written corrections clearly and neatly. Do try to avoid asterisks and arrows going all over the place. If you have planned efficiently, as we have suggested, this should not happen. But if it does, make sure that the signs are clear. Stop writing and put down your pens. When you hear these words, you can do so with a smile, knowing that you have given it your best and deserve a little celebration. And you are in a good frame of mind for the papers to follow. Well, that's all from me in this video. This video is based on the information freely available on the internet. No originality is claimed for the same. The intention of this video is only to prepare candidates for answering questions on the subject and not for any financial gain. Do like and share this video and do subscribe to my channel now so that you do not miss out on my previous or future videos. And if you wish to drop in a line, I shall always be available at sumitacademy20@gmail.com. Till later then, cheerio.